You mentioned that you're buying properties and putting rehab into the properties, and then eventually you're refinancing out about 75% of the after repair value. So, what can you explain what organization or what bank you're using to refinance those and how that process goes?
There's a couple of banks out there. My situation's a little different than some. It all goes back to that W-2 or 1099 earner, and I've always been more of a 1099 earner. So I've had to get creative, but if you want, maybe what I could do is get a list of some of the places that I think might be good for your listeners to tap into.
Yeah, I
Um,
can link that up.
yeah, that would be great. And then, some of them are commercial and some of them are conventional. I personally don't qualify for conventional. So, I'll be going commercial just on all of these properties. But there's something else that's nice about that too. There's less hoops to have to jump through to get the
Yeah.
financing. And, I've been lucky enough to find some 30-year amortized commercial programs versus the 5 and 7 year balloon programs that are pretty typical
Yeah.
for commercial.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the I think it's the Finance of America one, because there's two features that I think hold a lot of people back, that it sort of overcomes. Number one, you mentioned, is that you typically have 1099 income. So a lot of conventional lenders, they're going to want to see your W-2 income, and that's going to immediately disqualify you. And then number two, as investors, we're buying these in LLCs. So even if you've got personal income from a W-2, it doesn't matter if you're buying it in an LLC, because that's a different owner of the property. That's a totally different ownership entity. So your personal income doesn't matter. So this last loan that you did with Finance of America, I think it was called, they were able to overlook. So what did they look at in terms of, the documents that you were required to show?
They were interested in my credit score. They were interested in knowing about my financial situation. They wanted me to own the property for 91 days. And obviously they wanted to make sure the property was a good investment, that it cash flowed and met their criteria. As loans are, it's pretty typical that loans would send out an appraiser. So they sent out an appraiser, and then, then I was offered the program.
That's awesome. So they were interested with underwriting the deal itself, and they didn't ask you for your bank statements or your W-2s or anything like that.
No, I think they were pretty concerned with my credit score. And I think that
Got it.
would have definitely affected the rate that they offered to me. But I think once they saw, the credit score, they had great confidence and just a lot less hoops to jump through than the conventional.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to this segment of the interview with Randy Ridderhoff. I think he's a great example to anyone who might be thinking, I'm too old to get into rental property investing, or I'm getting close to retirement or the end of my career, so it's too late for me to build a rental property portfolio. But, he's got 6 rental properties. He's planning to add another 30 over the next 2 years. And I think, it's a great example for people who have, kind of caught themselves with that sort of mindset. So if you want to hear more about how he's doing this and listen to the full interview, you can check it out on any podcast player. Also, if you got value out of this clip, out of this segment of the interview, if you could give it a thumbs up and also hit subscribe. There's going to be other segments of this interview. There's going to be a lot of other interviews that'll be released on a weekly basis, so you get notified when those are released. Also, if you want to continue the conversation, head on over to the Living Off Rentals Facebook group. I hang out there. There's a lot of other great rental property investors that hang out there. You can get your questions answered. You can also continue the conversation there. So I hope to see you there. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.